Have you ever caught yourself saying, I can't do this, or I'm not capable enough to do this task? Well, that is your self-talk. And your self-talk is your inner dialogue that you have with yourself. Now, the interesting thing about self-talk is your thoughts and emotions shape your reality. So my name is Dexter, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what self-talk is, how it can either help or hurt you, the neuroscience behind self-talk, as well as 4 key steps that you can use to actually increase and improve your positive self-talk so that you can boost your self-confidence, your self-esteem, as well as your ability to handle stress and uncertainty. The thing about self-talk is it impacts everyone, even high achievers. And we all have this inner critic inside of ourselves that creates imposter syndrome or self-doubt, but it's about rewiring our brain to not listen to the things that are holding us back so we can do better. And a lot of the times when it comes to where self-talk stems from, it can stem from our caregivers, our parents, our family, our teachers, and we begin to repeat those things to ourselves and adopt that worldview within our own lives. Now, the interesting thing about self-talk is that it cuts both ways. It can either be positive or it can be negative and bring you down. And when it comes to negative self-talk, this could sound like, I always mess up, I can't do this, or I'm not worthy. And that's where it can become very detrimental for us, because when we have this negative self-talk that we don't even realize we're doing, then that first step to realizing and improving our situation is self-awareness. We need to be aware enough to notice that we are having this negative self-talk that is holding us back. Now, on the flip side of that, positive self-talk can sound like, I am capable of this, I can do this, or I am worthy. These are the things that in your past dictate how you speak to yourself, which then leads to impacting your future self and how you treat yourself and the way that you might either limit or be able to be resilient enough to take on tasks that you might not originally believe that you could do. Now, when it comes to the neuroscience behind self-talk, neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to change and rewire itself over time through repeated thoughts, actions, and experiences. So this means in your brain, if you consistently continue to have negative self-talk, what you are doing is strengthening the neural pathways in your mind that are forming fear, doubt, and limitation. But on the other hand, if you're practicing positive self-talk, what you are doing is strengthening, empowering neural pathways, as well as releasing dopamine to improve the reward circuits for positivity within your own mind. So that's the power of self-talk. It cuts both ways. It can either be negative or it can be positive, and that actually trickles down into everything that you do going forward within your life. And maybe you've noticed this in your own life. In the most stressful times, you always default to the rehearsed thoughts that you have repeated the most. So if you have negative self-talk, that's going to come up. But if you have positive self-talk, that's also going to come up in these times of uncertainty. So it's really important that when you begin to practice your self-talk and improve the way that you speak to yourself, what you are doing is rewiring your brain through practice and action to build that confidence so you can handle those uncertainties going into those things, which improves your decision making, your confidence, and the way that you have an outlook towards how you can handle difficulties. And the interesting thing about that is at the end of the day, you will always believe the story that you tell yourself. And the self-talk is that thing. It's the voice in your head, whether you say it verbally or whether you speak to yourself in silence. Your self-talk matters because that is how you treat yourself, and that's the relationship that you have with yourself. So if you have self-limiting beliefs and you hold yourself back from taking risks or taking actions because of your negative self-talk, that will hold you back. So what you have to do is begin to rewire your self-talk so that you begin to encourage yourself with compassion, encouragement, as well as kindness in the way that you speak to yourself. Now, when it comes to the actual practice of shifting your self-talk, what you have to first do is to actually notice your self-talk and then challenge that self-talk. And then if it's not something that's serving you, you have to replace that self-talk. So here are 4 key simple steps that you can apply to begin to rewire your brain for positive self-talk. Number 1, practice self-awareness. If you're not aware of your self-talk, then that will always limit you. When you begin to be aware of these negative patterns of how you speak to yourself, then you can begin to interrupt the pattern. Number 2, replace the thought. Begin to use empowering, compassionate, and kind words. The language that you use to speak to yourself is super important. So when you begin to use language that has these positive components to them, what you are doing is beginning to shift your mind to seeing the good instead of the bad in these situations. Number 3, use emotions. When you speak to yourself with feelings, those emotions are the things that supercharge the rewiring of how you think, because emotions tied with thoughts together helps to strengthen those neural pathways and really sink that deep into your subconscious of how you think about these things. And lastly, number 4, practice repetition. It's all about rehearsing these positive self-talk over and over again until it becomes second nature. When you do that, these positive affirmations are strengthening those neural pathways to be more empowering. And when it becomes your default setting, those are the go-to thoughts that can then be what comes up in those times of uncertainty, in those times of stress, and in those times where you're experiencing something negative, but you can actually flip it to become positive, because it's all about the mindset. It's all about what you've rehearsed to begin to believe in yourself in these situations. And as an example, negative self-talk would sound like, I can't do this. But if you then are aware enough to notice it, then challenge it and say, can I really not do this? Or is there a possibility I can? Then now that you've challenged it, then replace it. And now you replace that self-talk to say, I can do this, and I'm constantly learning and growing. By that simple shift of noticing it, challenging it, and then replacing it, what you are doing is every single time it pops up, then you squash it and you replace it with something better. And what that does is it boosts your serotonin and dopamine levels in rewiring the circuits of your brain to begin to see the positivity in these things, which empowers you in the long run. And the crazy thing about self-talk when it comes to decision making is ultimately all of our decision making is based on how confident we are in what we are doing. And that might be the reason why we shy away from taking on certain tasks or leaning into it and trying it, because of the confidence of whether we believe we can do it. And that is why self-talk is so important, because when you begin to believe and say to yourself that you can do it, that gives you that encouragement to go and do those things. And whether you fail or you succeed, what happens is you learn something and you know that you actually went for it. And that's the best part about it, is that self-talk gives you that confidence to do so. So at the end of the day, you can think of self-talk as your identity in motion. Whether you think that you're not a leader or you don't think that you're capable, you're going to believe those things from the things that you speak to yourself. So when you begin to switch those things into positive self-talk and you believe in yourself, then you can move forward and build a better future for yourself. And the last thing I want to mention about self-talk is self-talk isn't lying to yourself. It's practicing and rehearsing who you are becoming. We were not always the same person as we are today when we were children, right? We're constantly changing as people. Now the question is, do you want to change for the better or do you want to stay the same? And the decision is like up to you. But if you want to change your self-talk because it's negative into something that empowers you, then it begins with rehearsing, practicing these affirmations to strengthen those new empowering neural pathways so that you see yourself in that way, and then ultimately you become that person that you believe you can be. So let me know in the comments section below. It would be awesome to hear from you. What is something that you have been saying to yourself that is negative, that just isn't true, and what you plan to replace it with in terms of your new positive self-talk. My name is Dexter. I'm a mindset coach and I talk about self-awareness, decision-making, and living a purpose-driven life. And I appreciate you checking out this content. If you like this content, please don't forget to subscribe, like this, and also share this with someone else who you think this could also benefit. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.